Listen to this.
Shame on you, foolish African. How dare you? 70 years of independence, and you are buying petrol, and that you produce petroleum. If you have the economies of scale, we'll be able to beneficiate and produce diesel, produce oil, petrol, iron and steel class, and so on. Why we need to do this? The major argument given against beneficiaries is that we don't have the critical mass. We don't have the market. We don't have the technology. We don't have the money. When you pool our resources together, the money will be there, and we'll be able to, the market will be there. You can then talk to China, not as South Africa, but as SADC, as the FTA area. Why am I saying this? Look at those economies. China, 1.3 billion people, GDP $11 trillion. That's an economy. India, 1.2 billion people, GDP $2.5 trillion. That's an economy. The US, 3.5 million people, GDP $19 trillion. Shame on you, Malawi. Shame on you, Zimbabwe. You are not an economy. You are a little village. South Africa, you are not a brick. Unless you go to the BRICS as SADC, as COMESA, as the FTA, you don't belong to the BRICS. Those are the numbers. Look at our potential as Africans. The African Continental Free Trade Area, 1.3 billion Africans, GDP $2.3 trillion. Now we are discussing. Can you imagine if we had to go and say, here I come, Madam China, here I come, Madam India, I'm the African. I speak on behalf of 1.3 billion Africans. I have a GDP of $2.3 trillion. Can we talk? They will talk to you not out of love, out of economics. Here I come. I present a market of 1.3 billion Africans. I have a GDP behind me of $2.3 trillion. Can we discuss? They will entertain you. The Americans, the Chinese, the Indians who fellowship with you, not out of love, out of economics. This is where we need to get to. Problem. When we are successful as the African Union, when you have the United States of Africa, there will be one president in the whole continent. Now, tell those African leaders. There will be no president in Malawi. There will be no president in Zimbabwe. There will be no president in South Africa. Maybe the guy will be from Cameroon. Cyril Ramaphosa will be Minister of Tourism for Africa. Is he ready? Emerson Mnangagwa will be Minister of Chiefs for Africa. Is he ready? Mutharika will be a chief. So the African leader is the stumbling block. They want to be president of starving people. America has 300 million people and a GDP of $19 trillion. They have one president, they're doing just fine. China, $11 trillion, population 1.2 billion people, one president, and they're doing just fine. So it's possible for this whole continent to be run by one cabinet with one president. But the current leaders, little Botswana, little South Africa, are not ready. So they talk regional integration, they don't action it. So Nkrumah was right, Gaddafi was right, that we must move quickly. There's no such thing as a free lunch. As you embrace regional integration, you lose elements of national sovereignty. There will be no president, but people will be living better lives. What's wrong with that? So those are some of the dynamics among these African leaders, that they'll pay lip service to regional integration. They're not prepared to pay the political costs. And then the people will do much better in a continentally integrated country. Those are some of the issues about regional integration and why it doesn't happen. As I go to the next set, I want to emphasize some points raised by Professor. Why is integration not working? Sovereignty is the big issue. People emphasize national sovereignty. My country, my Nigeria, my Malawi, my little Zimbabwe. We must think about the continent. You know, just to challenge you, you must say, I'm an African first. A citizen of SADC second. A South African third. I'm an African first. A citizen of ECOWAS second. A Ghanaian third. But you can't because you are so stuck to your national flag, national anthem, national basketball team, national soccer team, national. We are nationally wired as citizens and as leaders. So it's a constraint. You can't fully embrace integration unless you say the nation state is so yesterday. Regional integration is the way to go. The nation state is so yesterday. Continental integration is the way to go. And I told you the president, Muswati in Swaziland, wants to be king. He's just renamed the country to Iswati. He's not ready to give up on national sovereignty. Ramaphosa has just gotten into power. He wants to enjoy his presidency before he becomes the minister of tourism for Africa. So they're major, they will talk it. They will talk, then they go back to the nation state. How many times have you heard them in parliament say, our SADC budget, our contribution to the AU, the Agenda 2063, they don't believe in regional integration. Krumah, what did Krumah say? Let's go back to Krumah. And I'll quote Krumah. We as Ghanaians are prepared to surrender our sovereignty in part or in total in pursuit of African unity, close quote, in 1960, when they wrote their constitution. We are prepared to surrender our sovereignty in part or in total in pursuit of African unity. How many Africans can speak like that right now? We as South Africans are prepared to surrender our prosperity in part or in total in pursuit of African prosperity. Are you ready? Or you are chasing the other Africans out of South Africa? The visionaries of the 60s were thinking Africa. What else did Nkrumah say? The independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it is linked to the independence of the rest of the African continent, close quote. We must die a little so that South Africans can be free. We must die a little so that Rhodesia can be free. This man, Ben Bella from Algeria, was talking about dying for South Africa to be free, dying for Rhodesia to be free. We don't have men and women of that caliber anymore. We have midgets masquerading as leaders, intellectual midgets. It's very difficult to integrate unless the psychology of our leaders is the psychology of Pan-Africanism, of regional integration, and make sure that on balance, when we work together as Africans, the quality of life is going to improve. But there might be no president. It's okay. There might be no vice president. It's okay. The African will have a quality of life comparable to Japan, to the Americans, to Europe, and so on. But there's no such thing as a free lunch. There's a cost, there's a price to pay for regional integration. We must be prepared. Remember, die a little. That's a sacrifice. He's saying he's prepared to die. Ben Bella was saying, let's die a little. Nkrumah was saying, we are prepared to give up our sovereignty. He was saying his independence is meaningless. That's the language which is missing now, and that's why integration is tough. Social funds, he or she who pays the paper calls the tune. You can't have the fourth industrial revolution or industrialization funded by the EU or funded by the British or the Americans. That's why I'm emphasizing pulling our resources together so we fund our own projects. We fund our own infrastructure plans. We fund our own industrialization. The African can only industrialize against the interests of the West. Black man, black woman, you are on your own. Biko was right. So yes to donations, yes to aid, but it's unsustainable. we must fund our own activities using our gold, our platinum, our diamonds. But more importantly, when we put them together, they'll be much more powerful and we can negotiate better. Another point raised by Professor Mbo. You go and negotiate as Kenya, as Zimbabwe, as Malawi. You get shortchanged. When you negotiate as COMESA, negotiate as the FTA area, negotiate as the African continent, you extract better deals from China, from India, from America. And then you can raise the resources to pay for your development. The aid and donations are not sustainable. This is what we're saying. That's the framework now. The future of Africa. 3 major pillars. The key driver is going to be technology. You engineers, you technologists are a key pillar in achieving the promised land in Africa. The 4th industrial revolution is a major pillar in driving the African continent. Continental integration is another major pillar of the African dream. Decolonized thought leadership. Get that? Thought leadership alone is not enough. It must be decolonized. Decolonized thought leadership is a major driver towards the African dream, the African promised land. Those are the 3 pillars. Let me dramatize their importance. You all know that for us to succeed as Africans, we must beneficiate, we must add value. We can't be selling raw copper, raw diamonds, and raw gold. We must be selling catalytic converters from our platinum. We must be selling rings from our diamonds, jewelry from our diamonds. We must be producing cars and producing computers, producing planes. Now, you can't do that if you are not decolonized. You can't do that if you don't have the confidence as an African. The African engineer must have self-belief, must have confidence that I can design a computer. I, as an African, can design a car. I, as an African, I can design a plane. But more importantly, I can build it. I'm not talking about assembling Mercedes-Benz, assembling BMW, assembling Toyota. No! Designing the Ubuntu computer, designing the Ubuntu car, the UJ aeroplane. If you don't have a decolonized mind, you can't think like that. You're like, no, UJ can't do this, that's for MIT. UJ can't do, that's for Caltech. UJ can't, that's for London School of Economics, that's for Imperial College. Because you have no confidence. Self-confidence tells you, if Bill Gates can do it, I can do it as well. Design software, build software, design a car. So the engineer himself, the curriculum you have must empower you to design a plane. Does it? Or the assumption is the plane will come from Japan, will maintain the plane. The car will come from Japan, will maintain the car. We want to design the car. We want to build the car. A decolonized curricula will allow you to do that. Decolonized entrepreneurial spirit. And the African government must be decolonized as well. Does the government have confidence in its own engineers? The private sector must be decolonized. Are they putting money into manufacturing cars? So decolonization is important in the university, in the private sector, in government. Do you have confidence in local designs? Do you have confidence in local manufacturing? The consumer. Let's come to you, the consumer. When the TV says, made in Mpumalanga, by a UJ student, are you going to buy that TV? When it says, made in Dotito, in Cholocho, you like Sony, you like Philips, you like Samsung, you like LG. You are a victim of colonial mentality. You are a victim of mental slavery. Why can't you support your own product? Made in Dotito, buy made in Dotito. Made in Cholocho, buy made in Cholocho. Made in Kumasi, buy made in Kumasi. Guess what, guys and ladies? Japan after the Second World War, Toyota was horrible. Nissan it was like Zhejiang. No one wanted to touch Toyota. No one wanted to touch Honda or Mitsubishi. But the Japanese had self-confidence, said, "I will buy our own products." They bought Toyota. In Europe, in Africa, people were buying Mercedes-Benz, were buying European cars. No one would touch a Japanese product. But over time, starting with the local market of the Japanese, Asian market, Toyota, Sony, Mitsubishi, Honda became the brands by being supported by their own people. So the Ubuntu car, the Ubuntu cell phone, the UJ aeroplane eventually will become a superstar brand if you support it.
Hello, my brothers. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you so much for staying to this point. This, I must confess, this is one of the best speech I've heard in a long time, because it's like he's speaking my mind. This is a professor, a Zimbabwean professor by name Mutambara. I must confess that this man is very, very intelligent. This man is good, like he has a good foresight, just like late Kwame Nkrumah. You know, I always like listening to Africans that have vision, because these are men that we need. There is a lot of work to be done in Africa. And the major thing, the major driver is the decolonization. First of all, we need to decolonize our mindset. We need to decolonize our mind. We need to be free from mental slavery. You know, whenever we talk about it, people will be like, what are you trying to say? What are you trying to do? You know, what do you mean by saying mental slavery? It's a big thing, and that's why we are lacking behind. If you mention the poverty headquarters in anywhere in the world, they will point Africa. Are you getting me? So why are we lacking behind? Almost everything we use, we import, we buy. Even the raw materials we have, we can't use it and produce our own thing. What is keeping us behind? Why are we like not as brilliant to produce our own things, like cars, like good in technology? Why are we not leading in any part? We are not even leading in agriculture. We are not leading in technology. We are not even leading in science. The only thing we are leading is in natural resources, the one that God has given us for free. That's what we are leading at. And this is a very, very, this is an error. This is an error. Because I would say it's an error, because how can you have something, you don't know what to do with it? It's going to be outsiders that will come and use what you have to do something. It doesn't make any sense. First of all, education is about studying your background, studying your environment, using what is in your environment to make life better, either by technology, science-wise, or agriculture. That's what education is all about, improving the life and the betterment of a society. That's what education is meant for. So when I say decolonization, this man talked a lot about decolonization of our mind, because that is the basic driver. That's the key thing that we're supposed to cue on. Our mind, we need to check. We need to unlearn a lot of things, because we are being indoctrinated, some by religion background. I think that's the major factor, because religion made us to go backward. I always say it anywhere. Religion made us to go backward, because even the religious leaders are the people that are leading us. Yes, our presidents are religious leaders. They go to church, right? So what am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say, we need to work on the way we're thinking. Somebody said that what make anybody a human being is ability to think, ability to reason. That's what makes us a human being different from animals, right? So much. I enjoyed this speech, and if you enjoy it, I would love to know what you think in the comment section. It's a very good one from Professor Mutambara from Zimbabwe. So much love, and I believe we have other brilliant Africa. I would love to hear your opinion in the comment section. See you in the next video. Peace.